here bringing you another standard Monday here on the Bubble. And today I thought we would go back to an old classic that's been doing pretty well as of late in Night March. So for those of you who don't know, Night March uses the attack Night March, which all of these Pokemon have, all the ones you can see here, that says it does 20 damage times the number of Pokemon in your discard pile that have Night March. As you can see, we have 12 Night Marches in the deck, so we can have up to 11 in the discard pile any time, though that's not exactly recommended. And we can swing for lots of damage. And the basic idea is that, yes, your Pokemon are smaller, but they're also non-EXs. You're also a very aggressive deck. You know, you have things like Battle Compressors to discard Night Marchers, and it's not uncommon to be able to knock out an EX on turn 1. And then, even if they can respond and knock you out, you've taken 2 prizes and they've taken 1. And hopefully you can, exchange that trade. So you take 2 prizes, they take 1. You take another 2, they take 1, then you take another 2, and you win the game. Doesn't always work out exactly like that. Decks with non-EXs or will hurt you, and there's times where you're going to struggle to get the Night Marches in the discard pile. But this has been one of the most best performing decks in both Standard and Expanded, and I'm excited to try it out. 2 things to note. This deck does suffer considerably from the loss of Mew EX and Computer Search, as well as Dimensional Valley doesn't count. So this deck used to have Mew EX, and you could use Mew EX to copy a Night Marcher on your bench, which means that you had a little bit of a beefier attacker. As you can see, the Pokemon you're going to attack with have 60 and then 30 hit points. And that was a big help, even though it did kind of mess up what I was talking about with trading prizes. It was nice to just have a little bit beefier Pokemon who can take a hit or 2. Additionally, because it's a standard, you lose Computer Search, which is not the biggest deal because we do have Acro Bikes and Bicycles, as you can see. But, Computer Search is an amazing card, and it was definitely clutch for finding the DCEs or the Muscle Band when you needed it. And the third thing is, this deck actually doesn't have any new cards in it as of yet. This is a pretty basic build, just kind of 4 of everything, heavy on being able to find Night Marchers and be aggressive. The only card that I would consider from the new set is perhaps Hex Maniac. I'm not sure how much Vileplume decks are going to be good or what kind of abilities such as Giratina are going to be around, but I could definitely see a 1 of Hex Maniac coming in handy here, and maybe we'll re-explore the deck in a few weeks. We do have Revives, which are new. I figured that, without the Mew, we're going to need to get back our Night Marchers a lot more, and being able to kind of be riskier with them and discard more of them because you have Revive in your pocket, I think is going to be nice. Additionally, one of the things that I do want to experiment in this deck is having some form of energy acceleration. I think the only energy accelerator that would currently work as Bronzong, which would require switching to Metal Energy and also fitting in Bronzong, so I'm not sure how that would work, but I do think that it would be nice to be able to set this deck up in a way where you can stream attackers without having to find DCEs. Not sure what that is yet. I'm not confident enough to play in a video, but definitely something I want to explore, and if you guys want to look forward to that too, I can play Night March over the next few weeks. So we're going to hop into a standard tournament, and I'll see you guys then. Hey everybody, Kenny Wisdom here, back for round 1 in this standard tournament. Looks like we'll be playing against Brawlhorn 88. I always pick Tails. We will go first. No basics, and we revealed the Lampent, so that's pretty unfortunate. Looks like our opponent's playing something a little wacky. No basics again. We are only playing 12 basics, which is actually, say, a fine amount, I guess. Go ahead and start with a Joltik here. I'm not going to play the Pumpkaboo because I'd love to discard it. Let's see what our opponent's got going on. Charizard. Alright, well, I'm going to attach this Muscle Band. I'll take another one here. Let's Trainer's Mail. I'll take a Roller Skates. Gonna fire off the Roller Skates. Hope I get heads and draw some Night Marches, but I don't. So I'm going to go ahead and discard like this to find a shaman. Let's go ahead and set up acro bike. Perfect. Let's discard like this and take a lampant and then via seeker back the sycamore. Alright, so the problem here is I don't even know if we attach. The Charizard does take 3 energy to attack, but we will lose our DCE if he does get the energy, which he can do via things like Blacksmith. I will, however, battle Compressor. One handy tip if you haven't played Night March before is that you always want to get rid of your Lampants first because they can't actually do anything for you. I will... let's Acrobike. I think I'll take a Roller Skates. And... take an Ultra Ball. Trainer's Mail again. Take a Compressor. And I think at this point, we'll just go ahead and stop, see what our opponent's up to, and then figure things out from there. I think we're fine to just discard these two. That puts us at 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 Night Marches in the discard. And I'll pass the turn. So hopefully what happens here is our opponent doesn't have much and we can knock them out. And by not have much, I mean hopefully they just don't have a way to knock us out this turn. Even if they have supporters and have a board state and everything, that's mostly fine. As long as we can kind of get ahead on this exchange. Lucky Helmet, interesting. Yeah, so our opponent has 180. We have just to make sure we didn't count wrong, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Night March on the discard pile. No resistance or anything. Let's go ahead and Night March for the knockout. So that was one of the ways that Night March can win. Obviously, our opponent didn't get much set up there, so not indicative of a normal game, but that was, a normal turn one, as you saw. Even if our opponent had other things on the bench, we would have been knocking them out. We would have been up 2 prizes already, and then it would have been on them to deal with us. So I'll see you in the next round. Hey everybody, Kenny Wisdom here, back for round 2 of the standard tournament with a pretty basic Night March list. I would love to go first. Our opponent's playing Grass, Wally, and Fan Club. We start with a pretty bad starter in Shaman, but we do have enough in our hand to get things going. Our opponent opens with a Venusaur. Okay. Interesting. So let's go ahead and Compressor. The reason I want a Compressor now is because we have one in our hand. We have the Lampants in our deck still. Nice, we had 3 of them. And we're going to be Trainer's Mailing this turn, so I'd really like to increase our chances of hitting something useful. Actually, let's take this Revive just to differentiate. Acrobike. Could take the Sycamore here, but we just have a lot in our hand that I don't necessarily feel like discarding, and I'm hoping that Roller Skates can get us there. I'll take the Roller Skates, discard the Night Marcher. Alright. we're not going to be able to attack this turn, so I'm fine with just doing this. Let's go ahead, discard like this, find... Do we find another Shaman or do we find a Joltik? Probably should have Trainer's Mailed first, actually, just to make this decision a little bit easier on us. But I think we find a Shaman. Via Seeker is nice. Let's just go. Oh, actually, we should have revived there. That was a mistake by me, but hopefully I won't get too punished for it. Phantom, Joltik, and Joltik are last, I think. Yeah. And then let's go ahead and revive this little guy, attach this to it. Acrobike. No supporter in our discard. So I think we gotta take the Trainer's Mail, play it. Found an Ultra Ball, which is nice. Whoops. Just gonna find another Shaman here and try and kind of go off this turn. So we found the DCE that we need for next turn, and we still have a revive. Alright, so I think at this point we just ship the turn back to our opponent. So yeah, Night March can kind of, one of the things I like about Night March is it doesn't actually have that long of turns. Typically, you're going to play a pretty long turn one, and there might be another turn or two throughout the game. But after that, you're going to be doing things pretty simply, just kind of attaching, playing a supporter, having shorter turns than most, which is nice if there's decks that are slower, or you're playing against opponents that are slower, so in real life you don't time out and end up with a draw. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 Night Marchers. There's a Lugia EX, a Combi. Alright, so let's go ahead and retreat here, attach. I guess we just want to save the Lysander for later and just take the knockout here. Although let's go ahead and play an Acrobike. We'll actually take the Joltik. We'll play it and we'll attach to it like that. And we'll Night March for the knockout. And at this point, we do need to find DCEs to attack with, but if our opponent stumbles here at all, we can Lysander knock out their Lugia. And if not, hopefully we can kind of respond by, they knock out our Joltik, we knock out their Lugia, and then if they play an EX or stumble at all, we can knock that out. And if they miss the DCE here, this is the other one. You have 2 cards attached, Fury Swipes, okay. Ooh, our opponent just attached too, so that's going to be pretty bad for them. I'm fine with just I'm fine with just taking the 2 prizes here. I'm going to battle compress all this other stuff away, so we have a higher chance of drawing DCEs. This is going to do heal and then just Fury Swipes. So you can even theoretically not knock us out next turn. That's fine. Night March. Alright, so now between the Shaman and Acrobike to Roller Skates, I'm hoping that we have enough to find the DCE. I didn't go for it this turn because in case we get actually. Okay, yeah, this should be fine. This should be fine. Probably gonna get knocked out here if our opponent gets any. Oh wow, they got three tails. All right. Let's Acrobike. Yeah, we'll just take the DCE, attach it, and we should be fine. And our opponent has a turn to do something. In all fairness, our opponent has drawn really poorly. They played that fan club, and I don't think they've played another supporter since then. So, we had kind of I would say we had a good draw. We got the turn 180. We got a backup. We had to play a bunch of our EXs, which could have hurt us in other matchups, but clearly didn't here. Let's just. Yeah, so they're just dead. They're just gonna bail out. Put 2 Pokemon cards back into their hand, and then immediately get knocked out. So, 2 pretty lopsided games. Unfortunately, our opponent didn't really get much in either game, but it does go to show the power of Night March, and we're on the way to the finals. Hey guys, Kenny Wisdom here, back for the finals of the standard tournament. We're going to get to go first again. Hand is completely dependent on the Acrobike and Trainer's Mail, or the Acrobike and Roller Skates, rather. This is an interesting choice. I would love to have either of these cards, but I think I have to take the Trainer's Mail. Battle Compressor is a nice hit, but not the absolute best. Let's go ahead and dump Lampent. Another thing that doesn't come up too much because you do have 12 Night Marchers and you can take prizes relatively quickly, but can be an issue is prizing Night Marchers. I definitely have had games where, my prizes are Lampent, or not even Lampents, but let's say like Joltik, Pumpkaboo, and that can really set you back. Let's go ahead and Roller Skates. We missed. I think we're fine to go like this, find a Shaman, attach here, and then drop the Shaman for 3. And at this point, I think I'm actually just going to go ahead and take this Joltik, attach like this, and then VS Seeker for the Sycamore. Acrobike, we will keep a DCE. Our opponent's BMing us, but that's okay. Let's check how many Night Marchers we have. We can't. Alright, that's going to make this game a lot harder. I think we have 5. I think we have the 2 we discarded as well as the Lampents. And I'll go ahead and ship the turn back. The other thing with Night March, so our opponent said ZZZZZ there, which was just him joking around, but one of the things is, like I was saying last round, is that you do take a long turn 1, but your turn is all doing things, which is nice. The turn is all... Ooh, so we could actually just win here. As I was saying, the turn is all doing things relatively quickly. There's not a whole lot of thinking. You might have to think for a couple seconds off a trainer's mill or an acro bike, but it's more just the sheer number of actions that you're doing. So I'll go ahead and discard like this to find this guy. Attach here. Let's roller skates into some night marchers. Or let's not. Alright, so let's go ahead. Alright, and this should just be game. Just make sure. So I think we had 5. Our 1 got knocked out. That was 6. We just discarded 1. That was 7. This should be 8 and 9. And yep, that's the game. So as you can see, 3 pretty non-interactive games, but it does go to show you the power of Night March. Every turn on turn 1, we just got a bunch of Night Marches on the discard pile. We were even able to we were able to play turn 1s that weren't exactly super explosive and then finish it up on turn 2. Obviously, in matches 1 and 3, if our opponent had any basics, they would have been able to survive a little bit longer, but that does show you the raw power of Night March and just saying, you have to have something, and, there's a good chance that even if our opponent had something here, we would have just been able to get up on prizes like we did versus our round 2 opponent and just kind of crush that way. So Night March is definitely a good deck. Can be fragile, can be overly aggressive. You have to be careful with what you're doing, but overall I think it's a top deck for standard, and I think the expanded version is actually even better. So I'll see you guys this Friday on Expanded Friday and tomorrow on Trainer Tip Tuesday. See you guys next week.